I'm Carey Stinson, and my journey through life has been quite an adventure. For over 20 years, I played Barney the Dinosaur on tour and 7 seasons of the hugely popular TV show Barney and Friends. Now my journey is to bring together friends and guests from all over the entertainment world for inspiring and at times amusing behind-the-scenes conversation. I'm Carey Stinson, and this is Purple Roads. Welcome to Purple Roads. My name is Carey Stinson, and as always, so thrilled you're here. We've got someone very special this week. I have really gotten into listening to her music. She's got a new album out that is so cool. I think you're going to have such a good time with this. This is Lindsey Monroe. And Lindsey, how are you?
Great, Carey. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I am great and excited to have you on the show.
So excited to talk with you today.
Boy, you've had a lot going on.
Yes, yep. A lot of music in the past couple of years.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it because you've got 3 albums and you've got the new one coming out. And then you've also been very famous for these sing-alongs that you've done.
Oh, thank you. I have so much fun. I love singing for children. I love putting these songs out there. It's so much fun.
So I always kind of try to do this and start, where did music come for you in your life? Let's kind of start at the beginning here, and then we'll get to what all you've been doing.
Well, I have always loved music. I've always loved to sing and play instruments. I started playing violin as a little girl and then flute. I taught myself guitar in high school. Wow. And I used to sing folk songs like Janis Ian and Joni Mitchell. And then when I was in my 30s, I taught myself how to play ukulele. And I thought it was just a fun instrument. And now it's my main instrument that I play on all my albums.
So we got to talk about that. How do you teach I mean, where did this come from? Is it just something within the family? I mean, did you have natural music skills that you could teach yourself?
I have a pretty artistic family. My sister's an artist. My mom always encouraged us to just be creative and follow our passions.
Yeah. Did you play in high school?
I did. I was in chorus. I loved to play guitar and sing. Yeah.
And so where did you go after high school? Did you go to college for this, or did you?
I did, but not for this.
Okay.
Music didn't become a career for me until my kids were young, and I was a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 kids, and I decided, they were getting a little older and I wanted to do something for myself. So I went to an open mic night, and I didn't bring my guitar. I was just there to listen. I heard a friend sing and I thought, wow, that looks like fun. I hadn't played guitar in a while because I was busy raising my kids. So the next week I brought my guitar and I played, I think, a Joni Mitchell song, and I really loved it. And it became a weekly thing that I did. And then I started playing gigs for grownups, not children's music yet. I was doing folk music. I wrote songs and I just loved it. I loved that. And then when my kids got a little bit older and were in school, I decided during the day I would start doing children's music. So I go to libraries and preschools around Massachusetts. That's where I'm from. And I absolutely loved it because I would sing with my kids at home. And we would get out the guitar and, the more we get together and Wheels on the Bus. And they were growing up off in school and I missed that. So I did that with other children and it was so wonderful. That's how I got started in children's music.
It's fascinating. I'm smiling because obviously I know those songs very well. As
yes.
Barney, I did Wheels on the Bus many a time. So I know those really well. It's fascinating hearing you tell this story because it's not that easy, right, to get into this business. And,
right.
and the way you said that made it sound like, well, I just went to an open mic and then I did this and this and that. So where did that come from? And I've kind of seen this with what's happened with you and Raffi, that you kind of go after it, which I think you have to in this business. But a lot of people are scared to go, just, I'm going to go an open mic and then I'm going to bring my guitar and then I'm going to play and then I'm going to. So is there where does that come from?
That's a good question. I have to say, I was very nervous. The first open mic, I did not get up there. I did not sing. And then I saw people doing it. I thought, well, if they can do it, I'm going to try it. I didn't know if it would work out, but I just love it so much. I would play in my bedroom, play my guitar and sing. And to share it with people, it's a whole new experience. And it's really rewarding and really wonderful because I love to go hear live music. I love to hear other people share their songs. And I thought, well, why not? Something I really love to do.
Well, and getting past that fear, because we all have that fear, right? It's scary to put you're putting yourself out there, and you don't know if people are going to like your voice or your songs or any of those things. So you get the reaction from an adult audience, and then doing this with the kids, which I have seen this and talked to other artists that's done this, and almost every person that we've had over 100 guests on this show, and no one said I started out in kids entertainment, right?
So
they were all doing something, and then they got into it and were like, this is the greatest thing ever, is kids entertainment. Exactly. Because of the audience, right? They're incredible, from honest. They'll tell you exactly, and if they like you, boy, they absolutely love you.
That's right.
What was it like doing your first song for kids?
Oh my goodness. It was so rewarding, so wonderful. Sitting in a circle on a rug in a preschool, here we go, and to see their smiles and to see them, I would bring these little play scarves and little instruments like egg shakers, and they would just light up and, really be into the songs and singing along. And it makes my heart so happy. I just love what I do. I love doing that.
It's interesting because that really, we found as well with Barney, that's the key to this is bringing them in it, right? As you say, with the shakers and things of that nature. Barney, obviously all the hand gestures and the things, bringing that audience together. I think that the connection is it's really special.
It is really special. And I have to say, my daughter loved Barney growing up. So when we talked earlier about the Wheels on the Bus, and those are the versions, we listened to that every car ride and all the time at home. She had her little Barney stuffed animal. So she's very excited that I'm talking to you today.
Well, please tell her hello.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was obviously and I've talked about it a lot on this show, but I was a musician. And when I got into this, and I was 23 years old. Wow. The interaction, it was just incredible. The way these kids responded, and they're when they tell you I love you, it is so powerful.
Yes.
And they love the song, and they can tell, I always talk about authenticity on here, right? You have to be with your audience there. Not that you're not with others, with adult music, but it's just kind of it's a completely different audience than what those kids give back. So where did that take you from? You do a preschool, and then you do these things, and then all of a sudden, well, I'm going to do albums, and I'm actually going to make a career out of this.
Well, I have had a lot of luck, I have to tell you. I was a single mom just trying to play for my local community, right? I was libraries, preschools. And then I thought, I really became close with the kids who would come to see me every week at the library, or I would play cafes, try to get creative, go up to a coffee shop and say, hey, have me every Wednesday morning. We'll bring people in. And these children, you really get to know them. Each week they come back to see me. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to take these songs that the kids love and sing and let them sing them at home and put them on YouTube? I wasn't really thinking of a wider audience at the time. Right. I was just thinking of the children in my community, like, well, they can listen to this at home with their parents. So, and then next week when they come back, they'll know all the words, so right. I did that. I put it on YouTube, and my luck, Raffi commented on one of my videos. I think it was 5 Little Ducks, or Oats, Peas, Beans, and Barley, I believe. He liked one and he commented on the other and said, this is great. Oh my gosh. Well, that just made my day. I thought, how cool is that? I grew up listening to Baby Beluga, big Raffi fans in my house with my children. So I kind of thought that was the end of it. Like, wow, that was cool. Raffi noticed my video. And then I took my daughter to his concert in Worcester, Massachusetts in 2019.
And as we talked earlier, Barney's played Worcester too. I've been to Worcester.
I love it. It is, absolutely. I used to live right outside of Worcester. So when I heard Raffi was coming to town, I thought, oh, we got to go to the concert. We'll go to the meet and greet afterwards. And when we met, he had recognized me from my YouTube channel, and we started talking about music and children. My 3 children all have autism. So he was really curious about that and my music. And at the time I was only doing traditional classic children's songs, like we said, Wheels on the Bus, things like that. And he asked me, have you ever written a song for children? I said, no, I haven't tried that. And he encouraged me to do it from the perspective as a mom of children with autism, like maybe write for children with autism. I thought that's interesting. I was a little intimidated. And he said, well, if you ever do, write that, please send it to me. I thought, oh boy, I'm going to try. I had written songs for grownups as a folk singer, but writing for children is a totally different thing.
Right.
So I went home and I thought, what do I want to say to children? I think it's kind of a big job. It's really important that the message, you're giving them is something you think is worthy of hearing. And I thought a lot about it. And I ended up writing my song, I Am Kind. That was the first song I wrote for kids. And I was so nervous. I was like, okay, I'll send it to Raffi. Here we go. So I sent it off and he loved it. And he encouraged me to keep writing and keep sending. So I did. And after a few songs, he said, let's make an album. It was amazing. It changed my life completely.
Well, I think it's one of the coolest things that obviously we see some good with the internet, we see some bad with the internet,
right.
But that has been one of the amazing parts of the internet, the connection that you can have with people. And I've actually had some guests on this show that came from that. They knew someone that I had interviewed, and next thing I know, I was able to connect with them. I think it's such a cool experience. I can just imagine you had to have been a nervous wreck.
Oh, yeah.
When he tells you to write a song, but it sounds like you did it from you have to forget who it's for, right? And
right.
That it's for, that he asked you to do it, and you just think about your audience.
Think about the children. Absolutely. Yep. That's what I do when I write. I think about my audience and who I'm really talking to, because these songs, when a child learns a song and listens to it, they sing it in their head throughout the day, or they might sing it, in their kitchen throughout the day. And it's important to me that these songs, nourish these children as they're growing and have a positive impact in their life. So I really think about the children when I'm writing.
Well, and you can tell also when you perform them for the children, right? You can see there, if you have a good song or not from their reaction, right? They're going to let you know.
Absolutely. Yes. It's important to, keep it fun too. I love playing live for children. I love to interact with them. It really is such an interactive experience. It's different playing for adults. When you're on stage, everyone just kind of sits and watches politely. Children really get into it, and
right.
You can really connect with them.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. I want to sidestep here for 1 second. We have a huge audience that is autistic that watches Purple Roads. A lot of them were Barney fans, and they've started watching this show, and it's just really incredible. They reach out to me all the time through social media and emails and things of that nature, and they want to all tell their stories. It is, the power of it is amazing, that I'm autistic, but this doesn't hold me back from this, and I can do this, and I do this, and I do that. And it just warms my absolute heart. And I just want to applaud every one of them, because they come out all the time. What has it been like for you raising these kids?
I love to hear that. That's so wonderful. Raising my kids has been amazing. What a journey. They are 14, 11, and 10 now, soon to be 12. And it's just, you know, being autistic is just another way of thinking.
Right.
They are so unique and creative. And for me, you know, it's no different. That's all I know, raising autistic children. It's just a joy. It's wonderful. They're so sweet and kind and musical. Music has been a huge part of our lives. Like when they were little, such a great way to connect. And from singing together to playing drum beats together, almost like music therapy, it's just been wonderful.
Well, that's the key that I found with the connection with them is that's why they love Barney so much, are all those songs and the things
Right.
that, you know, all the hand movements and all that stuff that they can do. So that's kind of where those sing-alongs were coming from with you. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. I was really singing for my kids too. Absolutely. And the music I write today, I write thinking about, well, what did my children, you know, I have songs like I Can Ask for Help. It's okay to make mistakes. I'm really writing to my children as well, what I want them to hear and know. And I know that a wider audience benefits.
What has that been like for you? I presume you hear from fans and you hear from parents.
I do. I just love that. It warms my heart so much to hear what these songs mean to people and how it really helps them throughout their day. You know, I saw a preschool graduation video on Instagram, and they were singing "I Am Kind, I Am Brave, I Am Strong." Oh, I'm tearing up. It was just so beautiful. It was amazing.
Well, it's just, it got to inspire you to keep doing it.
Absolutely. Yes.
So let's talk about the first album, I Am Kind. So you've sent some songs and Raffi says, all right, let's do a whole album. You've never written a song before, and now you're doing a whole album.
It was quite an experience. So we decided to take the originals that he had encouraged me to write.
And he's producing this, is that correct? He produced
right.
the album. Yeah.
He produced the album. He plays, I mean, you hear my ukulele, but almost every other instrument you hear is Raffi. He played like the bongo drums, lead guitar, different uke parts. He's amazing. I've learned so much from him. So the first album, we did half my original songs, which are all kind of teaching songs, like, you know, I Can Try New Things, about trying new foods. And then we did half classic songs and some that Raffi had done, like The More We Get Together and This Little Light of Mine, which was just so special to me because I love those songs. And my 3 children all sang on those songs. Oh. So when we sing The More We Get Together with Raffi, you hear all my children's voices. And that's so special to me.
Oh, I bet that was pretty emotional putting that together for you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I'm so proud of them.
Oh, I can imagine I'm almost getting teary-eyed thinking about that.
Thank you.
Did you find, how was it working creatively with him? Did you work on the same creative process?
Yes, it was wonderful. You know, it's interesting. We've only worked remotely because we recorded and released albums during the pandemic. And we're in 2 different countries, Canada and the US, and the border was closed through the pandemic.
Right.
So we did all of this remotely, which is pretty amazing. But at the same time, he's an incredible mentor, and I've learned so much from him about songwriting, recording, different instruments, you know, the way, you know, I'll write a song and maybe he'll tweak some of the lyrics just to make it a little bit, the cadence a little better or more inclusive, you know, and just always learning from him. But we have so much fun too at the same time. It's so joyful to work with him. And yeah, it's amazing that we can do that remotely in 2 different countries and put out these albums.
What we learned from the pandemic, the good of what we learned from it, are things of that nature. I was actually doing this show in a studio I was about 10 shows in when the pandemic hit, and we just started
Wow.
doing it through Zoom. And it's been a way to connect with people. It is really, and I think everyone got comfortable with Zoom and being able to
Yes.
do these things. And I think creative people have to get it out, right? You have to get it out, and you're sitting at your house, like, I have to get it out. And it's amazing to me how creative people found a way to do these things. Because how many albums did you do during the pandemic?
All three albums. So the first album came out April of 2020. So we actually recorded before the pandemic, but we were remote. And
Right.
then we recorded Frogs and Birds, my second album, during the pandemic. We also recorded a song with Yo-Yo Ma during the pandemic, which
Wow.
was such an incredible opportunity. And the song is called For All You Do, and it's thanking essential workers. And the money from the song went to direct relief. So we were able to help during such a terrible time when everybody
Right.
was really stuck at home. And to be able to, anytime to be able to work with Raffi and Yo-Yo Ma is incredible, but to do it in such a meaningful way during the pandemic was just, it meant a lot to me.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit as you drop Yo-Yo Ma's name with Raffi. So is that intimidating for you did you write it, or were you just singing on
I
it?
did not write it. Raffi wrote it, and he asked me to sing on it. It's interesting. It's literally always been a dream of mine I've loved Yo-Yo Ma since I was little. I was a big Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood fan growing up, and I will never forget the episode with Yo-Yo Ma. And Mr. Rogers, I used to watch and say, while he was going to put on the sweater, I would always say, oh, pick the green one, green sweater. And one day he put on the green sweater. I was like, oh, this is going to be a good episode. And it had Yo-Yo Ma. And I fell in love with the cello and the music. I was little, and I said to my mom after the episode, can I play the cello? I need to, it was amazing to me that someone could just pick it up and make that music. My mind was blown. Like, wow, I need to do that. So I asked my mom for quite a while, like, can I please play the cello? But I was so little. She took me to the music store. The smallest cello they had, I couldn't hold it up. I was too little. They were like, come back in a few years, but we have a violin. So I started playing the violin when I was pretty young. And I ended up playing the violin through high school, never ended up picking up the cello, but I grew up listening to Yo-Yo Ma, just the most beautiful music. So to do that song was such an honor.
Oh, that just sounds so special. I was thinking as you were telling that story, do you feel like that's another part of your journey to show these other instruments to kids, right? To show them these different things. So, obviously guitar is very popular, but to show them these instruments, just like you learned from Mr. Rogers, so playing the ukulele and some of these other instruments. Has that been an aspect too, opening?
It has. So my sing along with Lindsay videos that I was putting on YouTube before I made my albums, I play the flute, I play I believe mandolin, banjo. I just try to do all these different instruments, because you never know who's watching and what they'll be inspired by and end up playing when they grow up. So also when I did music at preschools and libraries, I would always bring instruments for the kids. Unique instruments, everyone gets a turn or pass out multiple instruments. I think it's so important to let them try to play the instruments too.
Yeah, we talk about that we get to this point with kids where they're so open to all of that. And then at some point, it's almost like we tell them not to be creative, right? To stop that. And how do we keep that going? I think is so important, right? Kids are open, right? They believed in a purple dinosaur, but all of a sudden they become, an age where all of a sudden imagination and things, and we go straight to the guitar, we go straight to those kind of things. How do you think we get past that? Where, like, because hearing your story, and I kind of have a little bit of that myself, but I also had artistic parents. My mom was a dancer, my dad was a drummer. So they encouraged that. I loved as you were saying through all this. Sorry, I'm going a little long on this, but you were saying, well, if it's all about trying, right?
Yes. I
Isn't
think
that
that
really the important message that you're telling here, is that even if you had just done this, you did the singing and it didn't work out, you'd just be thrilled that you tried?
exactly. Absolutely. And it's such a good question. I wish I had the answer. I think of my mom, who raised artists and musicians, and she always encouraged us to try. Oh, I remember one time I was playing guitar with my sister, and we thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had like a hand drum and we could do that? And we were just talking, and she was like, oh, you want a drum? Let's get a drum. Let's try it. And she's just always so encouraging and believing in us. And I want to do that with my children. And I hope, everyone does that with children. Let them try things, encourage them to be creative and try something new.
Yeah, because when I told my parents I was going to be a purple dinosaur, they didn't understand it, but they were like, all right, you do what you do. I mean, do your thing and, go from there. And I would have never gotten that far if it wasn't for that. And I just think it's interesting. And I love what you're doing, because you're really promoting that, all these different things with kids. So we get to Frogs and Birds. I'm curious. So you've had this incredible experience on I Am Kind. Some people would go, I've done it. Like, I've done it. Instead, well, we're going to do another album. Was that from Raffi? Did he encourage you to do another one, or you couldn't wait to do another one, or was it just
No,
you?
we actually heard from a woman named Katrina, who was starting up a company called Bridges Learning System. And she was developing a curriculum that was a neurodiversity affirming curriculum, which, having 3 neurodiverse children, I thought, wow. So she had emailed Troubadour, Raffi's record label, asking if we were interested in writing some music for her curriculum. I jumped on it. I was so excited. This is like made for me. I thought, with my children and the types of songs I write, it was just a perfect fit. And I loved what they were doing. That was so important to me, that it was neurodiversity affirming. Their curriculum wasn't trying to change autistic people and make them neurotypical like so many therapies do, right? It's really celebrating who they are. And it's a beautiful thing. I love the curriculum. So I was given these, I guess, lesson plans, these little workshops that they have in their curriculum with topics like theory of mind. How do you teach somebody that not everybody has the same likes and dislikes as you, or have the same thought that you do about a subject? And at first, when I got the material, I was like, how am I going to write this for children into a song? This is such a, I didn't know. You wonder, I wrote my first album, but it was all from me, from my brain, right, what I wanted to say.
Sure.
I thought, can I do this? But I did. It's amazing. Like, I was so inspired by the messages and what they were teaching. And I ended up writing all of these songs for their curriculum. And Raffi loved the songs once again and said, we should make this into an album. It shouldn't just be for the people who are, using this curriculum. We should put it out there. So that's the Frogs and Birds album. Those are the songs I wrote for the curriculum.
How do you take something like that and put it into, because kids' songs are pretty simple, right? You can't go too deep. I mean, you got to be right there with the message. You've got to keep it simple, or it's not going to work. How do you take all of this, and put it into this simple package?
Well, the first song on the album is called Frogs and Birds. And I was told, asked to write a song about theory of mind, that not everybody has the same thoughts that you do. So I thought, what could I do to really simplify this for kids? And I thought, it's a duet. It has to be a duet, because we're talking about 2 different perspectives here. So I asked my daughter, Mem, my 10-year-old, who the Barney fan, she loves Barney. I asked her to sing with me. And I'm so glad I did, because her voice is so sweet and perfect. And she has grown up and changed so much since we recorded this in 2020 that I captured her voice at this perfect age where she could hold a tune, but she still sounded like a really young child. And it's such a special song to me. The song is, I really like frogs. I really like green. You know, it's kind of think of others when you talk and ask them what they like. So then I ask her in the song and she says, well, my favorite animal is a bird. My favorite color is blue. And we have a nice little chorus where Raffi joins in about it's kind to think of others. And it turned out really well. I love that song.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, you've done that for one song. How do you do it with the rest of them?
Oh, well.
Right. I mean,
once you write one song, I kind of think to myself, like, oh, I hope I can do that again.
Right.
You know, it's like songwriting is still such a mysterious process to me. It's all inspiration and you don't know when it will come to you. And, you know, but I had like deadlines to get this for the curriculum and it really worked out. I wrote songs like Flexible and Easygoing, which I love. Just teaching kids it's okay to go with the flow, you know, and be flexible. Faces Show Our Feelings, where we talk about when you smile, you're happy. And there's all different, like when you bite your lower lip, you're nervous, like all these different facial expressions. And it was really fun. That one has kind of a jazzy feel. And we had an upright bass on that song. And yeah, it was just a really great experience to write such unique songs with different messages.
Do you play these for your kids as you're getting ideas? Do you talk to them about these and use them as a sounding board? You do.
I do. You know, it's funny. I was recording Flexible and Easygoing and I hadn't finished writing it. Like I had, but there was this one line I just wasn't really sure about. And I was talking to my team, like on the phone, and I was just going on about, well, this one line, I think I want to change it before I go in and record. What do you think? And my 10-year-old, who had listened to the song over and over again, she wasn't 10 at the time. I guess she was 8. She was like, Mom, how about if you say, when I'm blue? I thought, oh my gosh, that's it. We're going to say, I'm feeling blue. I feel so blue. I said, that's it, Marjorie. Thank you. So she, you know, came up with the line because she knew these songs because I was playing them for the kids and she thought, well, this would be a good thing to say. So
now, are you a words or music first?
Always music first.
Okay.
I don't think I've written lyrics first ever. I think I always start with a melody.
And I'm curious, because it's tricky with kids' music. You know, we didn't do a lot of slow songs. You kind of got to keep them upbeat. I mean, there are some of those sweeter ones, but a lot of them are pretty upbeat. Do you balance that? Do you try to keep more of yours upbeat or?
That's a good question. You know, I think just naturally I've written some upbeat and I've written some ballads. Like I have a lullaby that's actually, I think, my most popular song on like Apple Music on streaming platforms. It's called I Can Dream. So I try, I guess I don't think too much about that. Okay. And it just comes out how it comes out. Like I said, it's such a mysterious process to me still. I just sit down with the uke, come up with a melody, and there it is. But Raffi has a hand in, you know, producing all the songs. So sure, he can pick up the tempo and add, you know, this instrument or these drums. He really has a big influence on how the finished product comes out, obviously.
So it's very collaborative.
It is, yes. And our newest album was a total collaboration. This is our first album where like both of our names are on it. It's a real joint effort, joint album.
So it's a perfect way to talk about this. So this comes about, were you wanting to do an album together? Is this something he said, let's do an album together?
Yeah, well, we had talked about it. We released Silver Bells around the holidays together. And we thought, oh, that was a fun duet. That was cool. But once again, as luck would have it, we were contacted, this time by a woman named Pam Gittleman, who was an early childhood music specialist, music teacher, and she was a member of the Harvard Advanced Leadership Initiative. And she had come up with this brand for kinder times, and these nursery rhymes for kinder times. With her experience as an educator, children, were taught these nursery rhymes that are really outdated, and the lyrics aren't wonderful. They're kind of dark, so she rewrote the lyrics and she contacted us to see if we would sing them. So that's how the third album came about. We said absolutely. We loved her rhymes. We thought they were great.
So do you take her rhymes and then kind of put your twist on it and put his twist on it? And is that kind of how a song comes about?
Yes. So Raffi really came up with some of the melodies, like some of the rhymes have classic melodies like Three Kind Mice or Three Blind Mice,
Sure.
but others were just spoken rhymes. So Raffi wrote the melodies for this album and the ukulele parts. He actually played uke on this album. And we went with Pam's lyrics, and we both sang. We sing a lot of unison on this album, which was Raffi's vision. And I think it came out really cool. And there are so many, speaking of different instruments for kids to hear, so many instruments on this album. We have bassoon, we have like all of these instruments that are just nice variety.
Well, I think that's such a cool part about kids' music, that you can do that. There really isn't a whole lot of rules to it. Otherwise, you gotta have to keep them simple. But other than that, the instruments and the different styles, as you're talking about upright basses earlier and all of that, you can introduce these different styles of music to kids.
Yes. And it's so fun to do because, like we were saying earlier, it might inspire somebody to play one of those instruments, and just to give them that exposure is really fun.
Well, it obviously did inspire someone that I'm talking to right now.
Absolutely.
So now, have you been able to get out and perform these songs live?
That's a good question. I have locally, and interestingly enough, Raffi and I will be playing a show later this summer together, which will be so fun. It'll be really great.
Well, this should be your first time together in person?
Yes.
Wow, well, that'll be exciting.
It'll be so fun. Yeah, to actually sing these songs that we've really recorded remotely, and to be able to actually sing them together. It's going to be so special.
So what is it like? I want to talk about more with that, but I want to talk about just you taking these songs that you've been doing in your house, and all of a sudden you now can get to a live audience. What was that like?
That is my favorite part of what I do. I love connecting with children, seeing them enjoy the music. It's so rewarding. It's so beautiful. So it's just a thrill. I, think of how different my life was pre-pandemic and where I am now. I'm just so grateful. So much gratitude.
Do you get surprised at what songs the kids react to? Like, do you think, oh my God, this is going to be a song that everyone's going to, and they like it, but they like something better? I mean, do you get surprised about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. The songs that really have taken off, I'm, a little surprised, but I love that. I want people to make these songs their own and really enjoy them. And it's not up to me which ones everyone will like. Yeah. So I think it's really cool to see what people respond to.
Well, and it was always a fun part for me. I used to do sing-alongs with Barney for years. And, it's the coolest thing when you know what's coming next, right? And the reaction. You've been doing these and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to play, Airplane, or we're going to do Raindrops.
Oh, yes.
Right. And, everyone's, you've got thousands of kids doing that stuff. Is that something that you get excited to, because now that these kids are responding to certain songs that you're doing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what an amazing experience when kids are singing and they, it's their song. They know it. They love it. That's so magical. What a magical experience. Speaking of Airplane, when I knew I was talking to you today, all morning I was singing that in my head. I just thought, oh, my daughter, I remember so many car rides singing that song. That
was fun. That was fun. Flying, it's funny. It's one of the most powerful things I've ever seen, is that and I know you guys can do this too. The coolest thing about kids' music to me is that Barney could be on stage with a simple light and that's it. We didn't have to have backdrops. These concerts these days have,
Right.
fireworks and lights and sets, and you don't need that with kids' entertainment. Literally, Barney could be up there singing these songs, and it is like, the Rolling Stones. You're doing all it is that connection, and Barney's flying like an airplane, and they're doing it too, or the I Love You song. And to me, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I could not believe what I was seeing when this started happening. Is that something you've noticed as well? Amazing. It's just the artist, and you don't need all that.
Oh, yeah.
It's entertainment.
Yeah. When I play live, it's me and a uke. My partner plays bass with me. Sometimes my kids will come up and sing, but there's no background or anything crazy going on. It's just me and a ukulele, and it's all about that connection. And I love it. It's so magical. You don't need, anything fancy. You just need to be authentic and connect and share this music.
I've done several shows with just massive audiences, and you're thinking it's a 30-minute show and all these people came out and they're ecstatic.
Yep.
I was like, that is such an incredible experience. Like we were talking about before with ticket prices and things of that nature. But in kids' entertainment, it's a different thing. Another part of this I used to hear all the time, you've got to be sick of hearing the I Love You song, or you've got to Mr. Knickerbocker. I was like, no, absolutely not. You mentioned those names, or Airplane, or Wheels on the Bus, and I just smile, because all they think about is the kids' responses to those things. And I presume it's the same for you. You may play these songs thousands of times, but it's a special experience every time.
It is, and I'll never tire of it. And I've learned that from Raffi, being the great mentor that he is. I ask him, like, do you ever get tired of playing Baby Beluga? Or, like you said, absolutely not. You never get tired of it, because there's so much joy every time. It's just seeing people's faces and their responses. To bring that much joy to somebody, it's such a magical, beautiful thing.
Well, and it's a commitment level, and it's funny you say that about him, because you see that with him, that he's always, his commitment and his upbeat and his songs, and it's always there, right? There's a commitment level when you're going to get into this, right? You can't go in and half do this, right? Because the kids are in, they are in, and you can, play for adults and have an off night, but you just find a way. Of course, their energy helps.
Yeah.
To bring it every night.
That's right. You have to be present, right? And really be there with them, because they know if you're not,
They absolutely do know that. So where do you think you're going to go from here?
That's a good question. I think more music. I have so many songs inside of me that I'm just excited to share with people. I'm excited now that people are able to go to concerts again. I'm excited to do that more, and play music live, but also record more.
And you keep doing the sing-alongs?
Yes. Yeah. I just put up a new video on my YouTube channel. It's a little different. It's a lyric video, but I have a song called The Ally Song, about being friends and kind to people who are different than you. So that just went up this week. Yeah. So you can check it out. Sing along.
We will. We'll put all of that out there so that people can find all those things as well. So thinking about, you've just come out with this album. I'm already thinking about your next album, but do you think, all right, I want to go in a different direction? Do you have to fill the creative soul aspect of this too?
Right. Well, I am so fulfilled with what I'm doing now, really writing music about kindness and inclusion and acceptance. So I want to stay on that path. I think there's so much more to say on those topics. So I'm very excited to kind of keep doing what I'm doing, centered around kindness.
Well, and we can't get enough of that. I
right?
mean, right now, I don't think you can get that message needs to just be heard and heard and heard.
I agree.
I keep hearing you lately, the last couple of times you've said here about, I have so many music inside of me that I want to get out. Raffi got you to try a song. You didn't realize you had all this in you.
I had no idea.
You know, I think it's fascinating to hear that you have all this in you, and someone just had to suggest it and kind of, took the cork off the bottle, and all of a sudden, here it all is. Do you even think about that?
I do. It's like a great teacher can say something to a student. Like I saw some meme on Facebook, like a teacher said, "Oh, you could be a great writer one day." And that was it. And then that person grew up and became a writer. Raffi, of course, I'm a musical person, but I wasn't a children's songwriter. One comment changed my life. Absolutely made me think of myself in different ways, think of my abilities. And I think that we can all do that, like for someone else. You don't have to be Raffi, or just encourage people to be their authentic selves and to try something. And you never know what could happen, what magic could happen.
Oh, I love that message, because I was talking with a friend of mine the other day just about that. I believe 1000% we all have some superpower in us, whatever it may be, whether it's songwriting or whatever it may be. And finding that, right? Some people find it themselves, and then other people need someone to just give a suggestion, if nothing else. And all it took was you to try. It's amazing how simple that is, but it can sometimes be difficult.
Yeah, it's simple and difficult at the same time. It's like you might not have found that in yourself, but one simple little nudge, little push in that direction, little suggestion can just open new doors and new ways of doing things.
Oh, well, I absolutely love it. Well, I see these guitars behind you, and we've talked about this. I'd love to hear you say something. And I've heard about this ukulele. So if you can find that ukulele and play something,
I would love to.
We would be honored.
Let's see. We're going to do a little kindness, little I Am Kind. I am kind. I'll be your friend. Will you be mine? I can share a smile. I am kind. I am brave. I do it though I feel afraid. I can do the hard things. I am brave. And I am love. I wrap my arms around myself in a great big hug. I am love. I am love. I am wise, solving problems that arise, finding new solutions. I am wise. I am strong. I'm okay when things go wrong. I know I can do it. I am strong. And I am love. I wrap my arms around myself in a great big hug. I am love. I am love. I am love. I am love.
I love it.
Thank you.
I don't know how you can. I had to almost get up and start dancing to that. I don't know.
I love it. Thank you.
I don't know how the kids don't get up and dance with that.
It's all about dancing and moving and feeling the song, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Is that something you start seeing that? I'm curious about that. Do kids get up and?
Oh yeah. And I encourage them to. I'm like, let's stand up, let's dance, let's move, yeah.
Yeah, I can just see it. I can just see that. Well, Lindsay, this has just been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure to talk with you.
Well, I've learned so much, and you've inspired me. I just think that's amazing. That's an amazing story that you have. And I can't wait to see where it goes next. And I'm so excited for you, for the show, for Raffi. We will let people know everything you've got going on so people can check out what you've been doing.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And we just might have to check with you again and have you back on, because I have a feeling
I would love that.
It's going to keep going and going and going.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you for watching Purple Roads. Remember to keep your eyes, ears, and your heart open, and you'll find your purple road. We'll see you next week.